What's going on, Star Wars fam? My name is Chris Rhines from Broaxium.
And I'm Becca Benjamin from Tarkin's Top Shelf, and we are Star Wars Trilogies. So, Chris, since everyone else had their turn to talk about what was their Star Wars tractor beam,
hmm
so to speak, what was your origin story? So, lay it on me. What was yours? How did it start?
I think my first Star Wars memory, um, like I was two when I'm born in '75, so I was two when Star Wars came out. So I don't remember um, any bit of my life before then, which is fine because Star Wars wasn't in it. But what I remember most from those days, because it's tough to remember a lot of things from back then anymore, is my dad had a bootleg reel of of A New Hope, and in our house we had like this one big white wall. So you set up the projector, and we'll watch it that way. And for me, like the first image that I could think of for me when as far as the first memory for Star Wars is Vader. There's Lord Vader walking, through the Tantive four, like when he first steps in, and he looks
Awesome.
like that's like my first memory is him with flanked by stormtroopers and looking both ways and walking forward. Like that's like my first memory. Um,
That's awesome.
I think for for kids, I say kids, we're all like 45 and up, but from our generation is we didn't like decide to become Star Wars fans. Like we were gripped. Like it just gripped us. And then maybe later on in years, whatnot, maybe the grip loosened up a little bit for some, and some of us we just stayed in the grip. And that was me. That was me. I stayed. Um, I remember having when I lived in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. There was a kid across the street. His name was Mike. He and I would just merge our collections together. Like I didn't have the Death Star. He did. Um, you
Cool.
know, I had my land speeder. This, and that. Like I think he was the first one to get Boba Fett, the 3 3/4 inch. But now I got the larger one from back in the day. Like that was like what we did. So it was a lot of like making our own stories. Like I think Nick had said this and Kerwin had said this about like making our own stories with these figures and with your friends and everything. And that's along with me watching that bootleg reel. That was also like my earliest memories is just hanging out with friends and playing with the action figures.
Yeah. So, Star Wars, in a way, taught you how to share.
Yeah, yeah,
That is really
yeah.
wild. Like if you think about that. Cuz think about, you have nieces and nephews and all
Mm,
that. You see how they
mm.
are. A lot of times they don't want to let go of something and let someone else have a turn. But think about that. Star Wars taught you how to share.
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
wild,
yeah. I mean, and we,
someone
we were able
trusting you
to.
with their thing,
Oh yeah,
that special thing.
and we all knew what was what. So when it was time to go home, oh, I got my stuff,
I
and I,
love it. Love
but
it.
yeah, that was yeah. Those are awesome memories. Like like as in my younger years, like we moved around a lot. So I lived in King of Prussia for a bit. Moved. I think we lived in Philly for a little bit after that. Moved out to Jersey. Came back to King of Prussia, and then that's like when I met like my best friend from back then. His name was Pat McCready, and he and I, along with a couple other friends, like we were just Star Wars nuts, just Star Wars nuts, and we were going back and forth to the movie theater every day to watch Return of the Jedi. Like that summer was just back and forth to the King Theater in King of Prussia to watch that. Like that, those are just like great times. And of course, he and I still, um, we're playing Star Wars at the playground in the elementary school. During recess. And like you, we our weapons when we didn't have like like we had the Kenner, like the Stormtrooper blasters and the DR
Sure.
44.
Sure.
We had those at home, but at school, um, we had sticks. So you found branches or whatnot that like maybe resembled a
Mm-hmm.
blaster. Like, oh yeah, that's mine.
Yep.
And then like we'd hide them in places, like we'd hide them in bushes or whatnot, so we
Yes.
knew where to come out, and get them and whatnot and do
Mm-hmm.
our thing. So yeah, that was always fun. Um, trying to think, like I was always, of course, I was always Lando, um, uh, or Vader, Lando or Vader. Another buddy of mine named Paul, he was Chewie. My buddy Ken Salamone, he was Han Solo, and I forgot who played Luke, but I think it was Pat. But yeah, like like every recess we were out there doing that
Yeah.
stuff. It was so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, we were left to create. And I think
Yeah.
that's a huge thing. You see so many creative people that grew up in our
Mm,
generation from
mm,
watching Star Wars and what they have done.
yeah.
You think of these film creators of our generation
Hmm.
that are creating stuff because of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But since you said Return of the Jedi and you did post an old commercial of something that you no longer have, I wanted to bring mine.
Be careful. Oh my God! Don't be like me. Be careful with those things. Oh,
I mean, I still
yeah.
have mine.
Nice.
Um, yeah, yeah. Can you see it? I know.
Yeah.
Aren't they beautiful? And they look really good
They
because we
look
really didn't use
amazing.
them. We really didn't use them.
Oh,
So I have these on display in my basement.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. I am so jealous. Listen,
Yeah.
I use mine, and I use them a lot. I refuse to drink out of anything else. And because I was a child and
Oh,
with
for you.
clumsy thing, oh, there, yeah, that one broke first. I broke them all. I broke every last one of
So
them.
instead of Han, you didn't shoot first, you broke
I
first.
broke
Okay, I
first.
got
I
you.
broke first.
I got you.
I had the
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back ones. I had the Return of the Jedi ones. Broke them all.
Well, yeah.
I was, and I couldn't get any more. They were like, I'm not going back to Burger King for those. Like, no, you got what you got, and that's it. Yeah, yeah, good memory.
Oh
Oh
my
man,
god.
good as a good memory, as a hard. Oh, that's painful. I wish I still
It
had those.
is.
Yeah,
Hmm.
those are awesome. Please be careful with those. Put them in bubble
I
wrap at
will.
all times. All times. Never
Love
drink
it.
out of them. Put them in bubble wrap.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Ah. But speaking of all those memories, like
Yeah,
there was that, as Obi-Wan once said, the dark times. We lived through those.
yeah,
You know, talk about having to, have patience, as Obi-Wan likes to. The Force goes. Obi-Wan tells Luke, patience.
yeah,
We really had to have a lot of patience because we really thought that was it. um,
yeah,
After 1983.
yeah.
So yeah, 1983. I mean, I was 9. Okay,
Hmm.
so it was one of those things where we kept up, especially family, because where I grew up, most of my girlfriends like they're like Star Wars, what? So it was one of those things that I kind of kept to myself,
Hmm.
or amongst cousins because I was safe to talk about it there.
Yeah,
So, and I know it sounds crazy because some people are like, "Really?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, it was a different time." You know
yeah.
what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
oh, I've got stories.
And you would go to the toy store back then, and
Hmm.
they literally had the aisle that said for girls, the
Yes,
aisle for boys. They don't
yes.
really, I don't see that today, which is a
Hmm.
wonderful thing
Yeah,
because it shouldn't be like that. It should
right.
be, exploratory play for everybody. Um, but yeah, so, you know, I remember having a Wicket plushie. That I wish I could still find. I don't have,
Hmm.
not the original anyway, but yeah, so my parents couldn't understand that even for my 4th birthday I wanted a Darth Vader cake and not a like something like a princess or anything. I wanted Darth Vader,
Hmm.
which I did have, trimmed in pink icing. um
Nice.
you know I I I
That's
I, I
awesome.
I mean, he's still looming over my shoulder. I love my Darth Vader. I'm
Yeah,
always gonna be that way. But it's again though, trying to get through those times when we didn't have anything coming out. I know there
yeah,
were books, but I didn't get into books then.
Mm,
I really didn't have anything, but when we had, Blockbuster and things like that, where you can go and rent the videos, once ours were terrible and you couldn't really watch them anymore, I would do that,
mm,
and I would
hmm.
sometimes beg a friend, like, oh, can't we just, and they're like, why?
Yeah.
But that was a thing that I would do on my, on my own or with my brother. And, it was always more family when I was younger,
Hmm.
and going through my early teens. And I always kept with Star Wars. I kept it there and I knew. And then when we had those, I don't think they were called Scholastic then, but they had those book where you could buy the
Yeah.
books. I still have those.
Yeah.
Those I
Me too.
have because at least I could
Me
have
too.
that.
Yeah.
And my parents never said no if you wanted to get a book at the book fairs like at school, because it was book.
Yeah.
Reading is fundamental. So
Mm,
you had to have reading.
mm,
But so I lived that way. I didn't, like I said, I didn't get into the legends, if you want to call them that now, the expanded universe
yeah.
then. So it was one of those things where I just would replay the movies or get into something that reminded me of Star Wars, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
What did
Yeah.
you do?
Well, you mentioned Scholastic, and then I brought up a painful memory. Uh, and I know that one of our trilogy partners, Brian, had a story about this. His Scholastic Return of the Jedi book. I had a similar tale with mine. Um, Luckily, my teacher didn't give, at least from what I remember, I didn't have it when we went to go see the movie for the first time. My parents got me out of school
Okay.
early. They got me out of school early so we can
Oh,
get in line. So we, for
Wookie
Return of the Jedi.
Hookie. Wookie Hookie. I love
I love it,
it.
and so we they got me out of school. We went in line to pick up the tickets, and then we were like just gonna soak up some times when us. So we went to the King of Prussia Mall, uh, and we get into the entrance, and there's a B. Dalton's books that's like off to my right. I remember this vividly. Um, we walk by, and I just like, and I was like going into there like magazines of Star Wars books or whatever else is in there. And I walk by, and in the there's a display that's right outside for like any kind of new releases and things like that. And the storybook is there. The Return of the Jedi storybook is there. And I remember I walked, and I was like, and everything stopped. I remember just everything stopped, and I was like, I just kept looking at it, like, and I looked down the hall. It was my mom and my brother at this point. They were halfway down the hall. They had already, because like I said, I stopped and I just looked at it, and I was like, okay, I have no willpower. I have none. I grabbed it, and then I was like, I'm only going to look at one. I'm going to look at one. I'm just going to open up a random page, look at one image, and put it back, and that's it. And that's it. So I grabbed it. I thumbed through and it, like to the page. I was like, okay, it's going to be this page. I opened the book up and looked at it. It was Vader throwing the Emperor over the down the shaft. That's what I saw. So and I was like, oh no! I was like, oh no! And I just put it back, and I kept walking. I'm like, I have to forget what I just saw. I have to forget what I just saw, and I couldn't. We're in the theater watching this, and when Palpatine is hitting Luke with the lightning, and Vader's going back and forth, like making his decision, and you hear everyone in the theater like, "Come on, Darth! Come on! Don't let him do that to your son!" And I'm just like,
Oh,
"Wait for it. Don't worry." That I ruined for myself, but it was still a great memory. Still a great memory.
yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
you don't get that now. It's rare that I mean, it's just unheard of to get anything before
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that releases, because they tried it, with the sequels, and it, there was contradictions. And I know
Hmm.
once Disney took over, they really didn't want any hiccups anymore.
Yep.
And I understand that, as it should be, honestly. Expanded editions are one thing. You can put whatever you want into it and add more to it.
Hmm.
But that is crazy that you did see a spoiler before we had spoilers
Yeah,
like we get on the internet. So that's it's pretty
yeah.
wild.
I
That
shouldn't
is
have done it, but You know,
It's like kind of sneaking around right before Christmas, like you
yeah,
shouldn't be, but you do.
ripping open a little bit of
Um,
the
oh,
wrapper.
I
As
was an
far
expert.
yeah,
I really was. But
yeah,
anyway,
but like as far as like the dark times go, and uh, like the thing is that we did have some stuff like Marvel Comics had a Star Wars run,
hmm
which was good and weird, and I was like, like I loved it because it was Star Wars, but like it was still weird. We had the newspaper
I remember
strips.
those.
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
those. Um, let's see, and I think they made Luke look like Thundar the Barbarian
he
a
never
little
looked
bit, and I
right.
was like, yeah, it was
Yeah,
just yeah.
yeah, no.
Um,
hmm
we did have all right. So like my favorite thing from the dark times, my absolute favorite thing is Star Wars droids, the cartoon. It was my absolute favorite thing. Like if Lucasfilm ever gives me carte blanche to bring anyone into canon, I'm bringing in every character from droids and putting them in that show. I love that cartoon. We had that. We had the Ewoks cartoon. We had
Yes,
the two Ewoks TV movies. We had those, and I like I'll take it. Like like we barely had anything. I'll take it. What? I'll take it. Whatever you got. Just
yeah. I
give me,
remember
give me, give me.
rewatching those with my kids. I actually got those and made my kids watch them. They're like, "Mom, what is this? This is not the same thing." I'm like,
Like
"It
you don't
is just very
understand.
low
This is all we
budget.
had. Yeah, it's like this is
This is
all
what
we
we
had.
had."
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I've explained that, and they're like, "Wow." It's like, yeah, I know, crazy. Anything we would do to absorb anything.
Hmm.
We
Anything.
didn't care
No,
anything.
like
I mean,
I.
these Ewoks, their eyes didn't even blink. They're just like,
Oh yeah, they were terrifying. They were terrifying. You had like the witch, and you had the other old human who lived there. Like, where were
yep,
these people during the battle of it? Anyway, wait, when is this? Like, I didn't, like part of me as a kid, part of me was like, when in the timeline is this? But then I was too young to really
exactly.
care that much about that. I'm just like, cool, just give me Star Wars.
Yep.
As far like in books go, like there were some books, and I would get like the guide to the Star Wars universe. I would get those books and just like read up on all that kind of stuff. I was grabbing the West the RPG, the tabletop RPG, like
Okay.
books and all that stuff. I wasn't playing them. I just wanted to read Star Wars stuff. I just wanted something Star Wars. So I was like, let me just just anything. It was like that. But um and when you talk about how like you had to keep it from your friends a bit, like
Mm,
you had to kind of like suppress it.
yep.
This is at the point where when I was saying before how like Star Wars had a grip on us, on like every kid, and then like
hmm
the grip loosened up,
Oh yeah.
and this is when I knew like I'm like yeah I'm a lifer. I know like I'm a lifer. This is like fifth grade. Um, I was still like bringing a little Star Wars stuff to school. Like Star Wars had been over by this point. Fifth grade. I forgot like what age I was in fifth grade. What age that would be, but
Probably like 10,
10.
10,
Okay,
11.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I was still like, I didn't have any Star Wars shirts, anything like that, but just I guess for my own comfort kind of thing, I would bring like little Star Wars things to school, like my card backs from the action figures and things like that, and
That's awesome.
I'd have them in my desk and whatnot. And I used to get made fun of by students. It'd be like, "Oh, are you still in the Return of the Jedi?" And I was like,
Yes.
"Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love it."
Yeah, I
I
am.
was proud of it. Like, yeah. So yeah, I got made fun of by students and my teacher.
Yep.
My teacher would,
Well, teachers shouldn't do that.
they shouldn't.
That's
But
terrible.
yeah,
No.
I got like my fifth grade year was horrible. I got bullied by my fifth grade teacher for, just my Star Wars stuff, or like whenever there would be a book report, I'm like, I'm doing a Star Wars book, and she would like stop doing Star Wars books. They're not real books, yada da da, that sort of thing. Um,
That's sad.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I still remember her. I really hope she's not doing well right now.
That's so funny. But and when you talk about that, it's it's interesting because as a kid, like I said, I was really into Star Wars and anything that would resemble it, even if it wasn't sci-fi but just
Hmm.
fantasy.
Hmm.
Like, and I would rewatch these things over and over again. Like when we got the animated version of The Hobbit, I could not stop watching that.
Yeah, loved it.
Um, Loved it. And then I still talk about this. I know it's most people are like, huh? But The Last Unicorn, I till this day, I'll still watch that.
Yeah.
Okay, it deals with the same thing
Hmm.
as Star Wars, the light and the dark. It's still
Yeah.
about that and humanity and, you know, all of it. It's all there.
Hmm.
I stuff like that I gravitated to.
Yeah.
And then, like when you think about the early 90s, Disney started taking off. So I was really into like all the Disney movies like Aladdin, Lion King, come on.
Hmm.
Then, of course, 1993 was the big one, Jurassic Park.
Hmm. And
When
oh,
that
the
came out,
yeah,
yeah.
you're like,
And
oh yeah, that was George's litmus test for can I do these prequels?
well,
And
that's
that
what
was it.
I'm saying. I was like,
Yeah.
and how many of us, after leaving the theater, because I went at night, was constantly looking in the rearview mirror on the way home? Because I know I was, right? Like that did
Yeah.
something to you.
Yeah.
So, all those, I think a lot of that was testing to
Hmm.
see what he could do.
Yeah.
Um, and then, of course, that announcement came that we were going to get special editions, like
Yeah.
added stuff, reworked Star Wars in the theater. And I was like,
Hmm.
what do you mean? Because that was coming out, I want to say, when the Titanic was being announced.
97.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I remember seeing that too. And I was just like, it just till this day, it's one of those movies that it's incredible, with visuals.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I was not one of those people when special editions came out that was upset by any
No,
means.
no, nothing about it
I'm like,
upset
I'll
me.
take it.
Yeah,
Right.
if you watch ATG live, whenever we're talking about something about oh, do you want this to happen for Star Wars? I'm like, sure, gimme, 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 gimme. When it came to these special editions, it was like, look, it was like watching them for the first time all over again. I know that's a saying that's said,
Exactly.
but it's the truth. And
It
I
is.
walked out of these like when it came to like just seeing new stuff, I was like, oh, like I was just like looking at the screen, just oh, just trying to take in everything, like
All of it.
just seeing all the different things, and there's not one except for Jedi Rocks. There's not one scene that I like don't like except for Jedi Rocks. I just wasn't. I was. I'm sitting in the theater like this song's too funky for Star Wars. Something's not right. I don't. I shouldn't be bobbing my head like this. It's Star Wars,
Come on.
but
George was vibing.
he was, he
He was
was,
vibing.
he was. Had to do rapping in her tees and everything. Like it was. Um, but like if I could take it back a couple years to the the latent desperation that I didn't even know that I had. Um,
Yeah.
when Willow was announced.
Oh,
And I was
yes.
they're like, oh, this is and
Yes.
they're like, oh, George Lucas has something to do with this. I'm like, what? Are these is this a new Star Wars? Like, I was looking at Widow like it was a new Star Wars. I was like, oh, this must be the prequels that everyone's talking about. That
Right?
that's gonna happen. Like, oh, so when's Anakin gonna fight on the volcano with Obi-Wan? Like that sort of thing. But I was convinced, and I still am, that Willow is in the Star Wars universe. Like, just a far off thing,
But it
like
could be.
Atten. It could be. It could be.
It
It
very
could
well
like
could be
yeah.
because, and when you're talking about that, it made me think back to those first advertisements that you would see of Willow. And if you look at those, especially with actually Willow at the front with
Mm,
his little one, it looks something that would be in Star Wars.
yes. Yeah.
It really does. It has
Yeah.
that same look to it. Um, so yeah, why
Yeah.
not? Why couldn't that be?
In this in
You
this
know?
in the Disney Plus series, which it's a crime. It's a crime like
Mm,
Acolyte that we never got a second season. But
mm, yes.
uh in that season when they were talking about magic and everything, the way that they were
Yes.
talking about it, I was like, I've heard this before.
Yes, we
This
have.
is dialogue from Return of the Jedi. Like why? Like I'm like, are you telling us something? Like is this? is this in Star Wars? I'm just gonna. And like, I'm not a fan of headcanon because it sounds like denial to me, headcanon. But but I'm like, it's somewhere. To me, Willow is somewhere in the Star Wars universe. I don't know where in the timeline it's at, but it's one of those planets. It's got to be one of the like At and all that. It's one of those planets. It's one of those ones that's hidden from the universe or something.
Why can't it be in the other galaxy? Take a Purgle ride and go to that galaxy. Sorry. I should just leave now. You hear my feet?
What
Either
if?
you liked it or you didn't.
No, I love it. What if Peridia?
Yes.
What if on like the other side of the?
I think it works.
Oh,
I'm
that
going to go with
works.
that.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with
I'm
that
with that.
until
Let's go with
someone
that.
proves me wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
someone says
Yeah.
no. I need confirmation from Jonathan Kasdan on if it's in the Star Wars universe, could it be in the Star Wars universe? Was that part of his goal? Because I swear, you watch that Willow Disney Plus series again, you're gonna see some similarities. Like
And you're
magic and
talking
the
about,
force.
yes, when they're on the actual quest on the boat. That's what you're talking about. That
Yeah,
moment, right? Yes.
there's a few. There's a few. I'm gonna send you an image later that I made that I didn't put out
Okay.
because people thought I was crazy. So I'm like, I'm just not gonna put this out. But I had like these similarities that I had for those, for that thing. So um yeah, so yeah, back in it, anything I could do to fill that void. And as a boy in the 80s, we had so many things. Like Transformers for me was giving Star Wars a run
No.
for its money.
Oh,
GI Joe,
right.
He-Man, like I
Voltron.
love those. Voltron.
Voltron.
I was never a huge Voltron guy for some
Oh,
reason.
see, I was. I'm so
I
sorry, but I
wasn't.
love
That's
Voltron.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
love robots combining and make But I love all
Yes.
that stuff. But
Yes.
I just wasn't a huge Voltron fan for some reason. But Thundercats, like I said,
Yes.
He-Man, Mask,
Mm-hmm.
not the Mask, but Mask, Mobile Armor Strike Command. It was a mix between Star Wars, GI Joe, and Transformers. Don't get me started. But yeah, so you had all that, and those things kind of helped fill the void. But whenever
Yeah.
something Star Wars came around, it just
Oh, sure.
it went to the top of the list. Like I forgot when I stopped really, and I shouldn't say stopped. Say took a break from getting action figures, but remember when the Power of the Force came out? That
Mm.
run, I was like, mm, they're all huge. Like why? I don't remember Luke having like pecs, and whatnot. Like
Right.
everyone
Right.
was
I know.
jacked. Everyone was jacked, and then that Leia face sculpt was just.
It was not good. No.
Uh,
Mm-mm.
but
No.
yeah, like that's I did get a few of those that helped fill the void, and then like more action figures and stuff like that came out, so I kept getting those, and then sooner or later the special editions came out. That was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I don't know about you. When it comes to Return of the Jedi Special Edition, I prefer the Ewok Celebration to Yup Nub.
Yeah. No. I like both, but I do like the celebration. It's interesting because when it came out again just recently in theater for the 40th, right, 40th anniversary,
Hmm.
I took my youngest, and I'm telling you, whenever I take him now to see the older films on the big screen,
Hmm.
he just can't. He's like mesmerized. He's like, I've been missing this. He
Mm.
goes, not saying that I don't like watching it on the TV, but he goes, it's meant to be here.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't talk during it. Like he was just like, and this is coming from someone who's technically a man, which floors me because he's 24.
Hmm.
And you should see how giddy he was when Maul was announced. And then today he's texting me like crazy because the second season was announced.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and he's 24, and I just love the fact that he has no shame at all.
Yeah.
He'll go out in public wearing his Star Wars stuff. He don't care.
Yeah.
So, and I love it.
Yeah.
His room, he still has Lego everywhere. 24,
Yeah.
I don't care. you
Yeah.
know?
30 years
Um,
ago, we were not wearing our t-shirts out. We were not.
no.
Like
No.
people wouldn't know, and I don't know if I like in high school I was considered like slightly popular, not really considered one of like the upper echelon cool kids or anything like that. But like if we hung out, you would never know. You came to my
Right.
house, you came to my room,
You would, yeah.
you would know. Like you're right, like so I take it you like Star Wars, like like they would happen because there were still like
Oh,
posters as
sure.
far as I
Yeah.
can see, like high school and whatnot. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's crazy. Yeah. I know. I get that now. People I went to school with, and they're like, so you like Star Wars? When did that happen? I'm like, I always have.
Always have, yeah.
Not my fault you didn't know.
Hmm.
This has been an
Get
ongoing thing. I really
get
didn't
to
talk
know
about it
me.
unless I
Yeah.
knew you were into it. Then I would talk
Hmm.
about it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. Like I said, it was more for me a family shared thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because
Same.
back in
Same.
those days, the big family went to the theater, and I'm talking extended family, like cousins, aunt, uncles, grandparents. We all
Mm-hmm.
went. Honestly, if it wasn't for my mother, more than anybody, I would never have gotten into sci-fi or fantasy because she
Mm.
was into Star Trek from the beginning. Alien was her number one favorite movie. Ripley, all that.
Hmm.
So it just all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. It's like to say that my origin story really started with mom.
Hmm.
I think that's pretty cool, especially back in those days,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it followed through then with Indiana Jones and all that because she was the one dragging us to see Harrison Ford and Indiana
Wow.
Jones. Yeah.
Not my
Yep.
parents. Like they liked it because I liked it. My older brother and I were like the Star Wars people. When like my older brother, like his like his caller ID image is Vader.
That's
Like
awesome.
it's just like we like yeah he's another big he's a big nerd with it like I am on stuff. And we talk about Star Wars and DC comics and all that stuff. Like every time we text one another, still he's 56, I'm 51.
Okay.
We still talk this stuff. That's what we do.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That and cereal. We talk about some of that and
No,
cereal.
but that went
I
hand
don't
in
get it.
hand when we were
Yeah,
growing up. You talk
yeah.
about that old droid cartoon, you're doing that
Hmm.
with your cereal.
Yeah.
That's how it was, and that's funny because my brother was the bigger nerd growing up because, he had all the stuff. And like I said, I used to have to beg to play with him, but it only happened when, his friends weren't around. Then I could,
Hmm.
hang out and touch his action figures.
Yeah.
Um, but it's weird now because he'll call me and be like, so where does all this fit? How is this? And what's all this? And I'll start explaining to me. He's like, listen, I don't want a whole thesis. Just can you give it to me
Yeah.
like
Give
in
me the bullet
like
points. Yeah.
right. Like get it done in 2 minutes flat. And I'm like, oh no, no. You like if you're
Yeah.
gonna ask me,
You need all the
I need
intricacies.
yes, I need the
To it.
whole yeah. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you from the
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
And and like one of the pluses, besides him just being my brother, is that um like when Empire Strikes Back came out, like there are things I forget, you know.
Oh
So I remember a few years back, I was curious because I was like, 'cause I don't have a memory of how it was when we found out that Vader was Luke's father. Like I don't have a memory of that. I have a memory of going to the theater to see it, like going to the theater and leaving the theater. Watching it is another story. Um, and I was like, what were we, like, what was our reaction to that? And he was like, yeah, we didn't believe him. He was like, we didn't believe that he was his father. I
yeah.
think most of it because we just figured that Darth Vader was black. That's just it's James Earl Jones. I was like, they can't be related. Um, but uh, but yeah, we just didn't believe him. We figured it was something that he was saying just to mess with him or something like that. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
good memories.
That's crazy that you say that because it's something we've talked about. We exchange messages that one doesn't stick out to me. I know that sounds terrible, but you have to remember I saw these as they were coming out, and
Yeah,
that was in 1980, so I was 5 or 6 at the
yeah.
time.
5 years old, I
Okay,
was. Yeah, yeah.
so that wasn't like that didn't click with me. But then at the age of 9 for Jedi, I
Yes,
remember being completely
everything.
like thrown for a loop
Yeah.
when Leia and Luke were brother and sister. I
Hmm.
cannot tell you how upset I was because I'm like, well, because I wanted Luke to get the girl. I was like, are you
Oh.
kidding me? So now she's going to be with that jerk? Because I really thought Han was a jerk. I'm sorry. I just, at 9 years old, I
Yeah,
didn't like him.
yeah.
Now, I liked Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones,
Right.
but I didn't like him as a young kid when watching him as Han Solo. I liked
Hmm.
Luke and Leia. So that's what I'm saying. When we got the prequels and I realized Anakin was going to be with Padme, I'm like, oh, I have my Luke and Leia. Like, I was
Hmm.
so, like, I didn't care what anyone else thought. I thought they, like, till this day, Anakin, Padme, like, they're my it because I've been waiting for that
Doomed, doomed, but
since I was a
they
little
were
girl.
the
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
doomed. But
yeah.
they were everything because I waited for that since I was little. Because I'm telling you, I wanted Luke and Leia.
Hmm.
I know. It wasn't meant to be. George changed his mind several times. No
Yeah,
matter what anyone thinks, he changed his mind several times.
yeah.
He didn't have a plan.
That that didn't bother me. I was like, oh, cool. Um,
See, that just
yeah,
destroyed me
yeah.
at 9.
It didn't. Yeah,
Destroyed
that
me.
didn't bother me. But like that was like what you're saying. Like that was. I think it was Return of the Jedi, and that's probably why it's my favorite. And I hate to pick a favorite as far as like Star Wars movies go, but the one I've watched the most is Return of the Jedi because I think that's I was most cognizant as a
Sure.
person as a child for that era, that particular era. Like I remember, like it's the going to see it for the first time, getting spoiled by the book, going back and forth to go
That's
see it with my
great.
friend Pat McCready, the toys, just everything, like when Mick was saying in the previous episode that having the rulers. I had that pencil case, the ruler with it, the pencils, the pens,
Yeah.
the book, the book covers, for it, with the speeder bike on the front, all that stuff. So all
Yep.
my textbooks,
There it
had
is.
Star Wars on it. Yeah,
Yep.
that was that era. I've thanked my parents, and Lucas should be thanking my parents too because we put so much money in
Mm.
that dude's pocket. Um, so much, so much. But yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
just good times. I mean, yeah, and the dark times were still good
Mm.
times. It's just we just didn't have movies, and everything was just spread out. Like if 8-year-old me knew about this particular era that we're in right now, he would not know what to do with himself. There's too
No.
much. There's
No.
and too much in a good way. Too much in a good way. It's just like and this is why I'm so appreciative of Star Wars stuff because like when new stuff comes out, I'm never one to go, well, we didn't ask for that. The world didn't ask for Star Wars to begin with. But
Right.
like yeah, it's so like like I said, I've been through the dark times and how scattered releases were for anything Star Wars related, and now like we're thankfully bombarded with stuff for the past 10 plus years,
Yeah.
and it's been great. Like I said, 8-year-old me would not know what to do with himself in this era. He'd be swimming, drowning in Star Wars stuff happily.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I think about that too. It's like, honestly, that would have made us all have ADHD. I mean,
Mm,
if we didn't already have it. Like you think
mm,
about like I wouldn't know where to go or where to start,
mm-hmm.
Because there's just so much of it and like you said, it's not a bad thing. And when you say it's not something that we asked for, and Star Wars is what Star Wars is, but I still remember, the whole start of the sequel trilogy. And when they announced Rogue One, I remember going, huh, why? And I said this to myself, but I'll still
Mm,
tell you this. Rogue One is that film that I never knew I needed. Is
Mm.
probably, and I think it's because my comfort film, because I don't like to rank. I know it sounds weird. I don't like to rank
No,
my
no,
Star
same,
Wars.
same, same.
It's like ranking my children. Like I can't do that.
Yeah,
So um, it's like Rogue One is for me just wow. It
yeah.
just enhanced all the original movies to a
Mm-hmm.
degree that I never knew was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And A New Hope has always been my comfort film. It's like if
Mm.
I just need something to make me feel better and I'm just going to be moving around the house, that's what I put on
Mm.
because it just makes me feel better. So, and I just love the fact that Rogue One just fits beautifully into that. And
Yeah.
now, of course, we have Andor. Like you
Mm-hmm.
think about all of that that just enhances
Yeah.
what we got as kids, what drew
Mm-hmm.
us in to begin with. It's
Absolutely.
amazing. And it fits beautifully,
Yeah.
seamlessly.
Yes. Yeah. I
It's
mean, and the
unreal.
people who are writing it, the people who are making it, they're all Star Wars fans. Like when people would, and I don't know if they mean this as an insult, but like it's it's really not. It's when they say, "Oh, well, Favreau and Filoni," it's like they're just playing with Star Wars figures, and that's how they make the show. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we
I
did as
mean,
kids.
that's what I was going to say. That's how we survived. We
Yeah, we made
created
it our own
our own
stories.
stories.
Yeah,
And no, we're not upset that those stories didn't happen
yeah.
because maybe some of it did for some of us. Maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
what we thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, they've come up with some things. Like I said, with Rogue One, I never knew I needed. And then, I mean, come on. I know this isn't from our era, growing up with, but Star Wars had a baby. I mean, did you ever think Star Wars was going to have a baby?
I didn't think Star Wars would have a story centered around five kids.
That,
We got our Stranger Things, Goonies, Star
thank
Wars.
you.
Like if oh, if I would have had that, like we would have had that
Right?
back in '83.
Right.
And we well
And
we
I
kind of
still
we kind of
say
did
this.
with the Ewoks movie with the
True, but
girl.
this is different. Like you could really
Yeah.
see yourself
Yes.
as a kid when you watched Skeleton Crew. You felt like that's
Hmm.
me. I never felt more seen as a Star Wars fan than watching them pretend lightsaber battle
Yes.
at the
I'm
school
like,
park for
yes.
at the I mean,
The
come
bus stop.
on.
Yeah, yeah. That
Right,
was
the
that
bus
was
stop.
yeah.
That's like us. That
I'm
was
like,
us.
I did that.
Yes.
Me and Pat
You know?
McCready did that. Yeah.
And I'm sorry,
That's
but
what I
that
did.
made me tear up because that was like, hello,
Yeah. Yeah.
McFly, it's me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm.
Oh my god. Yeah,
And when
beautiful
you say
stuff.
comfort movie, I think like it's Return of the Jedi, and for me, it's the other anthology movie. It's Solo.
Okay.
I
Oh.
love Solo. I loved it.
Mm,
I love that it didn't have there were no like galactic stakes. It's and it's like for me as a comic book reader, like there are a lot of comics that the fate of the galaxy doesn't hang in the balance or anything like that,
right.
and I love that this movie was like that. It's just like they took a magnifying glass up to it, or they you know expanded the thing so you could like concentrate on this one little part within this huge story. I loved it. I love that.
Yeah. I'm still hoping, well, being careful how I word this. Um, there's so much they could still do
Yes.
and take from that movie and go
Hmm.
in different directions and do other little series or
Yeah.
animated series, including some of these characters.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm still waiting. I mean, I'm still one of those people like Enfys Nest. Come on, please.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Like
So
I
much more
want
music.
that.
I
Right.
clapped when she took off her helmet. I was like, I love this. Oh, this is good. So yeah,
All of
I
it.
hope I hope like give give Jonathan Kasdan all the money and just
So
let that
cook.
man cook.
Yeah.
Let that
Let him
man
cook.
cook. Because I mean, like, and bring back Willow.